Hello everyone, welcome back to Spurs from the Stands. I'm Sarah, and today we have a little bit to get through with regards to the changes to the digital ticketing. We have a few little speckles of injury update, and I want to talk about the first impressions of Igor Tudor's interview that was out a couple of days ago now. So to kick us off, the first thing that's been circulating today is an email that went out from Tottenham Hotspur to their season ticket holders. And the email said that there are going to be changes to the digital ticketing for the 2026-27 season, which is next year. And their email said that on match days, fans can currently scan their digital tickets or passes on their phones using either NFC or a QR code. But from next season, the QR codes are going to be removed, and instead, you are going to have to use NFC. Now, what's interesting about this is a few games ago I think it was the Dortmund game that was played at home in the Champions League, they actually had a banner which said, basically saying like, F NFC rules. And I don't think that across Europe there's the same policies as there are in England. Now, what's interesting about this, and a lot of the speculation on X today about people who have been talking about this topic and about digital ticketing rules and what this really means, is that this has come from Tottenham Hotspur. So just to clear a few things up, first of all, what this actually means is at the moment, if you didn't want to go to a game, you previously had to transfer that ticket to a member. And at Tottenham Hotspur, the membership costs £45. So if you're anyone off the street and you want to come to a Spurs game, you have to have a membership before you buy the ticket. Now, if you're already a season ticket holder and let's say you can't go to a game or you don't want to go to a game, you used to be able to transfer that ticket. Now, the changes, and we've spoken about this extensively, so you guys can go back and look at the second video that I did, or maybe it was the third, but it was about the changes to the ticketing. But now what's changed since December is that you can transfer that ticket to 3 nominated people in your network that aren't necessarily a member. Now, on top of all of this, at the moment, when you are going to a game, you get a QR code on your phone. And if you can't go, what people have been doing is they've been screenshotting the ticket and sending it to other people, which mitigates that third party of having to sell it back to the club and then it being put on someone else's ticket or transferring it through the official route, which means that you'd still get the points for attending the game. Now, the complication with this is that on certain phones, so for Android phones, you can't actually screenshot the ticket. For iPhones, I think you still can screenshot the QR code. And on the Spurs Stadium app, you can also screenshot the QR code. So there are workarounds that people have been using so far. Now, the challenge with NFC means that, of course, you have to tap your phone when you go into the turnstile. So there's no scanning of that QR code anymore, which means if you are a season ticket holder, then you have to actually have the season ticket uploaded on your phone. And if you wanted someone else to use that ticket, effectively what would happen is you have to sell it back to the club or you have to forward it on through the official routes. Now, the misconception with all of this is that this has come through Tottenham Hotspur. And so I want to clear this up because this is a Premier League change. In August 2024, the Premier League the teams voted, and the outcome of that vote was that digital ticketing will be mandatory. So I think that the speculation has been, well, this is Tottenham Hotspur, they're looking to get more money and they're greedy and et cetera, et cetera. And even I myself was of that opinion when I first saw this news. But having looked more deeply into it, there is a page on the Premier League website which has got an update about digital ticketing. And so from next season, supporters across the board, across all different clubs, not just Tottenham Hotspur, are going to have to transition into this NFC only route. And the reason why they're doing it is to stop touting and to stop people selling on their tickets, and so the clubs lose out. So I can see why this has been done. It's a partnership with the Premier League and all of the clubs to use digital ticketing as a platform. So the league is coordinating this, and this is to combat fraud and website scams and things like that. So from that perspective, I think that's not necessarily a bad thing. Of course, as a fan, there's pros and cons to this, because if you don't want to go to a game, then maybe, you can't sell that directly back, because maybe it doesn't go on the exchange and people don't buy it. So from a consumer perspective, it's more holes to jump through, should we say. But from the Premier League's perspective, it's going to stop a lot of people, frauding their tickets, basically, which these days, particularly at Tottenham Hotspur, is not an issue because we don't even have a full stadium. The other upside to that is that, particularly, and I'm speaking specifically now about Spurs, is that because we've had so many people not going to games recently, it has meant that the stadium at times has been filled with the fans that support the opposition, shall we say. And so in order to mitigate that problem of having a situation where you have so many fans in the ground that aren't supporters of your club, potentially this is an upside, because realistically the barrier to entry of them buying those tickets is now going to be increased, because effectively they would have to pay a £45 membership, and they would then have to go on and buy a £90 ticket as well as. So that way you're kind of mitigating the amount of competitors, fans that are sitting in the home end. But that is a specifically Spurs problem. I don't know if that happens across the board. So if you guys notice that in your stadiums as well, you can let us know. Now, that's kind of a wrap on that for the moment, because I think there might be some more changes. We're going to have to see what happens with the Spurs membership. Of course, we saw that in January, for the whole month of January, they were 50% off. I think that reason was for twofold. First of all, they probably couldn't sell their tickets, but also because there's less games left to play of the season, right? So if you've only got 15 games left of the season, why are people going to pay £45 if realistically half of those are away and they're only going to go to so many home games? So that aside, a little bit of injury news and updates is that we think that the rumor is Bergvall is going to be out for another 6 weeks, which is kind of anticipated and expected, because we were told originally that it was going to be 2 to 3 months, which is in line with that projection. We also, back when Frank was our manager, only a mere couple of weeks ago, we obviously heard that Richie and Porro were potentially going to be the two players that were going to be back for this weekend. So, of course, that's still speculative. There are trickles of videos coming out from Spurs which are showing the players in training. And from what we can see at the moment, I don't think either of those have been in the videos. But stay tuned, because there probably will be updates later this week. And we will turn to the London derby later this week, but Arsenal are playing tonight, so I didn't want to jump the gun on that one. The other news quickly that I just wanted to talk about was, of course, the video that came out with Igor Tudor. And just my first impressions around this, really, because I'd love to hear what you guys thought. I'm sure if you're watching this, you're a Spurs fanatic like me, so you've probably seen the video by now, but I'm curious what you guys think to it, because something that I really liked about the interview was that he has this gravitas when he speaks. I love the word gravitas, but he has this gravitas when he speaks, and he just sort of is very commanding. And that is really what we've been lacking, that voice of authority behind the scenes. So I'm kind of glad in a way that he's coming across with this positive mentality, with a bit of an optimism, but also measured realism. And it was interesting for, I guess, him to come out and admit that he's recognized the situation and he understands the position that the club are in right now. And that was something that was perhaps lacking under our previous manager, because, of course, we were sort of under the illusion that Frank was thinking that the squad was playing really, really well, And so I think it's nice now. Nice, that's a bit of a lame word, isn't it? But I think it's good. I think it's good that he's come out and, said with a little bit of optimism about sort of his future and where he sees the direction of this club going, and just having that commanding presence to get the players fired up he was talking about being brave and being confident. And I think those are all characteristics that we've been massively lacking this season. So I really enjoyed watching his interview. I like the way that he speaks. It's very measured, it's very considered. He's clearly got the end of the stick of where we are and what needs to happen. So on that front, I'm quite glad about his first impressions. Of course, what's going to tell in future is going to be how we perform in games. And we all know that our squad is thin on the ground. We know that we don't have a bench, which potentially can make or break a game. And I think for all the noise that's been going round about the formation and how we're going to set up. Of course, now we've heard the news that he plays sort of a 3-4-2-1 formation and things like that. So just to say, if you are someone who is really keen on, seeing a little bit more of that side of things, there was an account, James Lawrence Alcott. So to give a shout out to James Lawrence Alcott, he does analytics and tactical breakdowns of all the teams across the Premier League, not just Spurs. So if you're interested in a bit more of the tactical breakdown, I would suggest, and I'm not going to gatekeep here, so go ahead and maybe go and have a little peek over there. His video already has 35,000 views, but I think it's really interesting analysis and deep dive into how we could potentially set up. Of course, we know that his style is very attacking, and the downside of that is going to be whether we can close up shop in terms of our defence and not concede as many goals as we have been so far this season. So I think overall, there's a lot to be excited about. Don't take the digital ticketing changes, or if you're someone who maybe goes to the odd game or you're looking to go to the odd game, don't be too disheartened about that, because those were implementations which are way beyond the Tottenham Hotspur scope. It's happening across the Premier League. But I would also say, just, in terms of where the direction that we're going, the general feel that I'm seeing from you guys in the comments, that I'm seeing around social media right now, is generally a lot more optimistic. And of course, THFC Flags tweeted earlier today that North London Forever TIFO, with a picture of a TIFO. So it'll be interesting to see whether there is going to be a TIFO this weekend, because what a fantastic time to embarrass Arsenal about their TIFO situation. So we're all looking forward to this weekend. I think that for a lot of us, we're kind of getting itchy feet now because we haven't had a game for 12 days. So it's good to see that the players are back in training. There are no excuses for them now because they've had a week off, and I've never heard of a club that's given a week off in the middle of the season. So realistically, there's no excuses. They should be on top form, sharp for this game. And we will dive into that probably on Friday. So stick around for that. And let's see what tomorrow brings, because, there seems to, at the moment, Tottenham Hotspur is the gift that keeps on giving. So I'll see you all very soon in the next video. Have a great evening, and bye for now.